Both we and Dr. Hinshaw have been talking about the transition from a pandemic response to an endemic response. And as we see our vaccination numbers rise in first doses and second doses, how we make that transition and our response to the pandemic and moving to the endemic phase. If we remember back in March of 2020, this is also something that Dr. Hinshaw spoke about even back at the beginning of the pandemic response, that the three stages of any pandemic begins with containment, and then we move to mitigation, and then it moves to the endemic response, where we live with a virus in our community. And this is now a virus that, as Dr. Hinshaw has said, is treatable by vaccines, or preventable, I should say, preventable by vaccines. And for her, and the work that her office did to develop the milestone of 65% in second dose coverage, to moving to that recovery phase, that endemic phase in our response, was out of the work that she had done. So, and I think, you know, as we've seen for the last 16 months, that yes, we have many different opinions in the medical community, and that's to be expected, and that's encouraged. But our Chief Medical Officer of Health and the amazing work that her and her office have done throughout this last 16 months, I think deserves the deference that it deserves. And I think, you know, we did know that this is when we do move to an endemic response more clearly in some of these measures, that some folks were going to have questions, but I think that's why we're trying to do it in a thoughtful way, in a staged approach based on really important metrics and milestones that were developed that are based on the science and based on the data. I think other provinces know that this is going to be, you know, the inevitable next step in Canada for all provinces. We are leading the way in moving to the endemic response. Like, we've led the way throughout the response to the pandemic. Quite frankly, it was Alberta that, beginning in January of 2020, thanks to the great work of JP, our Lord Beaverbrook of the pandemic, and being able to make sure that we had the PPE throughout 2020 and 21, that enough that we were able to donate to other provinces, for us to make sure that we had the surgical capacity throughout our hospitals, that we were able to even take ICU patients from other provinces during this pandemic. We have led the response in many ways. Sometimes folks didn't even follow our lead, like, you know, being so pro-mask in this province that we even gave out 40 million masks in this province. But I think this is going to be a situation where we are leading the way again in the response to the pandemic, and there will other provinces will inevitably have to be moving to this step as well.
Will you be sending your own children to school unmasked?
Yeah. My children both go to public school. One of them is still in elementary. The other is in a junior high. And no, I mean, because I am deferential to the independence and credibility of Dr. Hinshaw and her work. And absolutely, I will be.